Minecraft is one of the biggest games in the world, if not the biggest, with crazy origin stories.
How could such a small indie game with no funding and only one dev actually become the phenomenon it is today?
Well, let's take a trip down memory lane together and find out, cause we are back with a part 2. Coming in at number 10, the beginning. Alright, now you know how the game is played out. It is time to learn how it all started. Minecraft is the brainchild of the Swedish programmer Marcus Notch Persson, who previously worked on video game developers King and later J Album. Before laying all of his focus on Minecraft, Notch developed a few prototypes during his off hours, inspired by popular games at the time. Among the prototypes were Ruby Dung, a base building game, and Infominer, a block-based mining game. I think we can see where the ideas are getting from for Minecraft to be formed, right? The first edition of Minecraft was called Java Edition, was made by Notch during a weekend in early May 2009. The game was initially released to the public in May 17th on the TIG source forum, a forum for independent gamers and developers. After feedback from his peers, Notch upgraded the game to the so-called classic version. A few more updates were released in the Infodevs and ImDevs version before the major update Alpha was released on June 30th, 2010. It was around this time that Minecraft was beginning to pick up speed. Notch quit his day job. Yeah, believe that? Man quit his day job solely to focus on Minecraft. With the money earned from the game, he founded now the legendary video game company Mojang, thus marked the dawn, the new beginning of Minecraft we all know today. What a great partnership, I'm telling you.
In at 9, Guardians. Originally theorized by Matt out of Game Theory, there definitely seems to be something off with the Guardian mobs. Quote from the official Minecraft mob bestiary: "Their skin is cracked as if carved from some ancient rock, and their single white eye stares with a gaze that is somehow both unknowable and cruel." Also, not to mention that this seemingly fish also attacks the player and other mobs using a freaking laser beam, and also the drop behavior, okay? These mobs dropping prismarine shards and sponge with no consumable meat like any other fish. This is definitely kinda sus. I mean, even then, like, even if it's like not supposed to be edible, zombies still drop rotten flesh, so it's not like Mojang won't give us food that we really shouldn't be eating. So the theory goes that these guardians are actually man-made robots meant to protect the temple of the ocean monuments that contain 8 gold blocks. And something that MatPat didn't mention in this video, but I wanted to point out, the mining fatigue given to you by elder guardians really makes those blocks difficult to get. Also, I mean, why does a fish shoot me with a freaking laser and then make blocks hard to break? That doesn't really seem like fish behavior, okay? It's because they're not fish, they're robots meant to protect the religious monument of the ocean monument that ended up over time sinking. Boom.
Coming in at number 8, Drown. Once a human, this being was created from a surge of ocean power upon a drowned, rotting body. Drowned are common underwater zombie variants that spawn in oceans and rivers, or when zombies drown. They are the only sources of tridents and the only renewable source of copper. Drowned spawn naturally at a light level of 0 in all ocean biomes, aquifers in the dripstone caves and biomes, and also river biomes as well. They spawn at higher rates in rivers and in dripstone caves though. That's pretty crazy. I didn't even know that myself looking into this. If a zombie's head, and not the legs, is submerged in the water continuously for 30 seconds, it begins the process of converting into a drown. It starts shaking, similar to the effect seen by a zombie villager, when it is being cured, that is. At this point, the process cannot be stopped, and 15 seconds later, the zombie becomes drowned. The drowned appears with full health, even if the previous zombie did not. Only normal zombies can transform though. Zombie villagers and zombified piglins, they cannot. So you kinda get lucky with this one.
And it's 7, Endermen. How did the Endermen come to be? How, like, were these weird giant creatures created, okay? The simple answer, I mean, technically is Notch, but the in-game answer could be a lot more sinister. Most people believe that Endermen are actually meant to be an ancient race of builders that were chased to the end by the Wither, although that has since been disproven, well, the Wither part at least. And over time, evolution took hold. The only food that they eventually had was the chorus fruits that we see in the end, and eventually this fruit bestowed the men and women with their abilities of teleportation. They grew taller to reach the fruit more easily, and they became the same pitch black of the void to hide from their potential dragon oppressor. But why do they hate us? Why do they come after us if we so much as look at them? Maybe jealousy. Like, could they be mad that they had to give up everything to survive, yet here we are thousands of years later just looking like they did, just chilling? Or perhaps they want us for food, thinking that maybe eating us will give them their normal powers back, just like the chorus fruit gave them powers. The Endermen are the only other mob able to place and pick up full blocks, and I mean, like, even their name alludes to them being human, like Endermen, men of Ender, so who knows? Probably not Mojang, I'll tell you that.
Coming in at number 6, skeletons. A skeleton is a common undead hostile mob equipped with a bow. Skeletons are primarily a range-based hostile mob that shoots the players and iron golems with that bow, and also the arrow, because you can't just have a bow without the arrow. If they get too close, they will also melee you. If an arrow does hit another mob, or said mob will attack the skeleton, and the two will begin fighting. Skeletons are known to take damage in the sun, but can survive under certain conditions. For example, if a skeleton is wearing a helmet, it will live. A skeleton can survive being in the sun. If it's in the water, a skeleton also that has fire resistance can survive the sun. There is also something called the Brotherhood of the Skull, which houses 3 types of mobs: skeleton horseman, wither skeleton, and the spider jockey, which I'm not a fan of, but they're all are badasses, I'll tell you that. Being the wither, the most deadliest warrior, and not just because, you know, he's black and gray. Okay, maybe he is black and gray, I kind of might like it, but at the same time, it's the fact that he got a sword over the bow in the Minecraft. Yeah, I like swords, man. The wither got one. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty neat. But I'll tell y'all right now, I definitely, like I said, I am not messing with spider jockeys. A spider and a skeleton, they should not mix, and I don't know why they did.
Halfway through into number 5, creepers. This idea also comes from the oh-so-benevolent MatPat, who blesses us with theories for various other games between FNAF theories. However, there is one theory that is like the first one that he suggested for Minecraft that really made us think. Could creepers be plants? It is definitely interesting, suggesting that creepers are a kind of peat moss, but there's even more evidence to suggest this that MatPat didn't even cover, like how it appears that the original texture for the creeper was just a modified leaf texture but brightened and then white was added in the back, which could have potentially been an error, maybe Notch saved it as a JPEG instead of a PNG, but with the mob bestiary and such showcasing that creepers actually have TNT inside of them, maybe Mojang was just trying to course correct for the lore that they accidentally made, so now, because now they have like the lore that they actually want. Who knows? I keep saying that, but honestly, I don't know because Jeb won't answer me.
Coming in at number 4, the cult of illagers. They were initially called the ill-intentioned villagers. Minecraft developers love the way they little play on their words. I know, right? And that wasn't any different when it came to naming the illagers. The development team reportedly wanted something to match the villagers, but to also act as a hostile mob force. Players would need to definitely fight, and the idea came from the concept of the ill-intentioned villager, which was then shortened to ill villager. This interestingly applies illagers are perhaps under some sort of spell or disease that makes them behave so incredibly violent. Eventually, the name was shortened from its current form to illager. They tried to create the Steve, but made zombies instead. Talk about a good experiment gone bad. This is nuts. Crazy origin story.
Getting close to the end in number 3, what are ghasts? Ghasts, the giant floating jellyfish of the Nether. What the hell? Are they really? Giant floating jellyfish mutated due to maybe harsh climates of the Nether, although there are no jellyfish in Minecraft. Maybe some other mob that was warped due to eating warped mushrooms and nether wart. Or is it maybe half a person after some builders had a little too much fun one night? Nobody really knows, but I mean, we can kind of guess. They could be some form of squid brought to the Nether and tested on by the ancient builders. They were changed potentially thanks to their diets of warped mushrooms, crimson root, and nether wart. And then they got bigger, and thanks to the climate, they developed an immunity to fire and lava. And their ink morphed into the ability to shoot fireballs from their mouths. It is gruesome and horrifying, but that's what happens when you experiment on squids in hell, assuming that they would be able to actually survive. Maybe like this is what what happens to squids when they die.
Coming in at number 2, the end. Long ago, or not so long ago as the fabric of time is quite thin in the end, there sat a planet, an alternate dimension that just barely outside of our own. The name of this world is lost to even the legend, but we now call it the End. There lived a race of masterful builders, and they held a society completely built around the idea of building. The measure of one's life was determined by the things one built from, to the tallest statue to the finest sculpture. They can build, yes they can, rather than enact war upon another. These mobs settled for their differences by building, not by war or bows or arrows, but to live peaceful in this newfound home, what they like to call the End. But it only lasted so long. The creature known as the Ender Dragon destroyed the End and enslaved all the mobs on this large piece of planet that remained. It flies above what remains to be called the End, commanding its slaves to go forth into another dimension and conquer by its name. The Ender Dragon does not seem to be able to leave the dimension it currently resides in, even though we have seen ways to get him out. So we must use different techniques from the End to conquer other realms.
And finally, in at number 1, the Wither Skeletons. Wither Skeletons are found in Nether fortresses, another structure no doubt built by ancient builders. However, where are these rare skeleton variant coming from? Matt, Pat, and others on Reddit have proposed the idea that maybe these are the bodies of fallen builders, buried in or absorbed by the soul sand that we know has the faces of screaming souls trapped inside. The skeletons left over could have been burnt from the harsh climate of the Nether or the blazes found in the very same structures. Having to fight off the reincarnated burnt skeletons of your former friends and family is certainly horrific. Having to fight off the burnt skeletons of your former peers is definitely terrifying, but to do that in literal hell, at least in the game sense, would be too much. This could also be how they discover the unique properties of soul sand, and then this then leads them to accidentally summoning the Wither after trying to bring all their friends back, but yeah, that's just the theory.
We would like to take a quick moment to pay our respects to the beloved Technoblade, as we know him being a massive part in the Minecraft community and a big inspiration. His skills and what he has taught us will never be forgotten.
I know we joke around a lot in the outro and throughout the video, but it just didn't really feel right to do that in the outro this time. While we may not have gotten the chance to meet or work with Technoblade, he had a massive impact on so many people, including myself and my sister. Our love and support goes out to all those affected by his passing, family, friends, and fans. Make sure you tell the people that you care about that you love them, and remember that every day is a blessing. Rest in peace, Technoblade. Thank you for everything you've done.